Goodness me, the message I just want to say is let the kid just explore, let him enjoy himself, let it find out what success tastes like. You're going to have good days with a bad action, right? And you're going to have bad days with a bad action. But at the same time, you're slowly but surely unpacking little things that work for you.
There's a lot said now about, when it comes to pace bowling, about having that shoulder hip separation, braced front leg. For as a coach now, any tips you can give youngsters trying to work their way up, increase that pace? Is it just all about going away, experimenting, working on your action by yourself and seeing what works?
I'm so glad that I wasn't overcoached. I am so glad that no one threw the technical book at me, and I was allowed to go and find out what I'm about. And if I say that these days, you watch schoolboy cricket these days, and you see, especially I'm talking from a South African point of view now, and how coaches, they're the umpires, they're the umpires out there, and they tell kids, they set their fields, they tell them, listen, it's all about line and length. It's all about line and length. You've got to learn how to bowl line and length. And so I knew I had pace, but I had the right voices around me to say, don't worry about it if it goes wrong for you. So I just want you to bowl quick. If you bowl a wide, you bowl a wide. Maybe that was just that old-fashioned coaching style that people just said, just go and have some fun. Just go and enjoy yourself. One day you'll find out what you're about. And I think it was the best messages, or the right message that I always had. So for a coach now, or teachers or coaches that coach the youngsters now, and we had many coaching forums on these platforms now, on Zoom and Microsoft Teams and all of that, where, what is the right way for a youngster? Goodness me, the message I just want to say is let the kid just explore, let him enjoy himself, let it find out what success tastes like. You're going to have good days with a bad action, right? And you're going to have bad days with a bad action. But at the same time, you're slowly but surely unpacking little things that work for you. And yes, video feedback these days, we didn't have that technology back in those days. You just plowed along and off you go. But now I think it's a little bit overcoached now for young kids. And there's so much information that youngsters have got to process. And I just think that the enjoyment and the unraveling of his own action needs to be found out by that young man. But the mom and dad sits next to the field, and they shouting advice, and you're not quite here, or you're not quite there. So it's really tough. I think it's very, very, very tough for some kids these days, because there's so much information getting thrown around.
Obviously, a lot now said about a fast bowler and their holding their variations, as well as like nailing their Yorker, slower balls, etc. Were you big on that? And again, from a coaching perspective, what advice would you give a youngster perhaps watching this?
I think now, if I can start there, it's more precise. We train precisely. We put more emphasis on scenario-based training. There's great emphasis on executing the Yorker. So you have those scenario-based trainings where you just take all the other stuff away from first-class cricketers and say, right, for the next 25 minutes, all you're going to do is bowl Yorkers and execute from over and around. So you've got to explore those avenues. Back then, okay, we got to bowl Yorkers. We know about the ball reversing. We didn't train very well. We didn't have clear plans of how we want to execute. And we didn't really nail down the what ifs. What are we going to do when so and so is here? That's if we play against these teams, the emphasis on Javed Miandad. What are we going to do when he's in the last 10? So we never really broke it down to those finer details than it is now, because there's so much more on it now. And my great advice to youngsters is, you've got to, if it's white ball cricket, bring a precise plan to a net session that you want to execute. So if your aim is that you want to bring to a net session, say tomorrow, is that what does my game need for the half an hour that I'm due to bowl, or the 40 minutes that I'm due to bowl? Is it, I need to reverse the ball? I need to reverse the ball from over and around. How good are my Yorkers? I need to practice with a reverse swing ball. And I watched Zahir Khan and now Nets here back here many moons ago in 2008, how he did that unbelievably well against MS Dhoni. And he had three balls. He had a ball that didn't reverse. He had a ball that's reversed slightly, and he had a ball that reversed a lot. And he just trained from death bowling, just death bowling. Just did it from over and around, changed the angle all the time, so he gets used to doing that. And for him, it obviously became natural because he was used to it, because he trained it in, you know. So you got to be very specific.
If a youngster came to you for your best piece of advice, what would it be?
Depends. Well, it can be any cricketer, and I think Brian Lara says it a lot as well. And I would just say, you know, everyone would say go out and enjoy yourself, okay? But also understand what you're trying to achieve, and not have too many plans. And don't come with too many things you want to improve on every single day. Pick 2 things in a session that you want to be successful at. If you walk away from that training session, you must actually feel so gratified and so say, you know what, I've done that well. I've really done that well. But a lot of kids come to a training session, and I want to say to kids out there, the training ground is the most important place of the development of your career. You will, if you come there for a 2-hour, 3-hour session, you got to walk away from there and you want people to talk about what you've achieved. You know, you want to be, and I think the great learning from Hansie Cronje was to say leadership is, I want you to walk away from that training session. I want people to buzz around what Allan Donald achieved out of that training session. And just bring a real good, solid plan of what you want to successfully achieve from your training session, and be so ruthless, be absolutely ruthless and emphatic of what you want to achieve out of a training session, and your accuracy and planning. Don't leave it up to the coach. Do not leave it up to the coach to do it for you. Bring your own plan. Remember, if you have a plan, you own it.